I'm Cory. Welcome to the Cory Turner Show. And it is time for another Hallmark Christmas movie review. Today we're doing Good Morning Christmas. This was sent to me by my good friend Marcella Benson. Marcella, thank you for sending it over, because guess what? I liked it. I know that's a big surprise. Now, there's going to be some spoiler. I'm going to go ahead and do a spoiler alert. I'm going to talk about some things in the movie. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, go watch Good Morning Christmas, but then be sure to come back, subscribe to this channel, and leave us your thoughts and ideas in the comments, because I want to hear from you. I need people to talk about these movies with, and so, sorry, a lot of pressure on you, but be sure to leave your comments there. Okay, so Good Morning Christmas stars Allison Sweeney and Mark Blokus in a show about a show, which is always funny, and I always wondered how those are going to hit. As most of you know, I'm a filmmaker, and we come up with ideas about shows or movies that have to deal with making of movies, and a lot of times those shows don't do extremely well. And so when I first started watching this one, I was like, okay, we will see. So Allison plays Melissa, Mark plays Brian. It's Melissa Mary and Brian Bright, so it's Mary Bright, I believe, Bright Mary. I can't remember what the name of the show is in the morning, but they have a great morning talk show. And these two people could not be different, more worlds apart, if you will. And I'll be honest with you, when I first started watching this, I didn't like Brian at all, right? He seemed arrogant and kind of jerky and like he didn't care. And Melissa, who's Allison plays Melissa, you know, she took her job seriously. She wanted to prepare for things. She really wanted to make sure she did a good job. And so with her wanting to be prepared and do a good job, with him, I'm not saying he didn't want to do a good job, but he did not really want to prepare for it. He would go off script. She had to cut cover for that a lot of the times. And so these were two different people. And he just seemed, I don't know what you thought, you tell me, but I just thought he seemed kind of arrogant and jerky and didn't care. And I thought kind of a little bit mean to her. And I'm like, I don't like this guy. I don't like this guy at all. So then Jennifer, which is their producer, played by, I got my IMDb up here. So Nicole Oliver, she knows that Mark has decided he no longer wants to be on the show, right? Or Brian. Brian doesn't want to be on the show anymore. They haven't exactly told Melissa. Jennifer brings him into the office. She's about to break in, and then pretty much Brian's like, I don't want to be on the show anymore. Of course, that throws Melissa for a loop, because their show is like the #1 rated morning show in the country. So it's doing fantastic. It's doing amazing. They're on a roll. He doesn't want to deal with it anymore. He just really can't stand working with her as much. And the feeling's mutual, but, you know, they make a great show. So they have decided on Christmas Eve, they are going to announce that the show is over, that Brian is leaving. They're going to bring in a different person to be the co-host with Melissa, and they've decided that's how it's going to work. But they're going to go to Mistletoe. Oh, what is the name of the city? I have a hard time. I always forget the name of these cities. But anyway, this quaint little city has one that their city gets to be highlighted as the Christmas city for the show because they have so many great Christmas activities that they do. So the Jennifer, the producer, has decided they are going to travel to this enchanted little Christmas city for the entire week and do all the shows from there. Now, of course, Brian is like, I don't want anything to do with that. This is a guy who can't stand Christmas, doesn't like Christmas. I mean, he buys gift cards for presents. He doesn't put up trees or anything like that. So he for sure doesn't want to be in Christmasville. And then you've got Melissa, who she is all about Christmas and loves her sisters. She does no one special in her life right now, and loves all the Christmas traditions they do, baking the cookies, getting everything ready, decorating the tree, all of that kind of stuff. So, you know, she's like, I can't be away for Christmas, but they don't have a choice. So they go to this nice little town. They stay in this really cool bed and breakfast. They've set up the barn to be the studio to record the show in. I could talk for 3 hours about a show that was 2 hours long, so we're going to condense this down for you. But we start learning a little bit of backstory about Brian. Now, Brian has a girlfriend. She is an actress, the best I can tell, kind of a famous actress. Not like people rushing up to her on the street. Really, Brian is more that way when him and Melissa are out, because people recognize the show. But she's supposed to be an actress. She doesn't care about Christmas either. So her and Brian are the same. They just don't care about Christmas. Don't really celebrate it. Don't do anything like that. So they look like a pretty good fit. But over the course of this week, as they are doing these activities, Melissa and Brian start to learn more about each other. Melissa just has this feeling, right, that Brian's life has been super easy. Now, to tell you who Brian is, Brian was a star high school football player, a star college football player, an NFL star for 12 years, went on a reality show, dating show, and overnight he had millions of fans, right? Because he went on this dating show and then he decided he wanted to be on a morning show, and that's how he got onto the show. So Melissa just sees it as, hey, his life is super easy, has always been easy. No wonder he doesn't have to work for anything, while she feels like she is constantly having to work, constantly having to be prepared, constantly having to be as ready as she can possibly be to make sure the show's a success. That's their tension, right? But we start to learn about Brian. And he drops a few hints there about, Christmas, not liking Christmas. And then he starts to talk about, and we find out actually that when he was younger, his dad had some financial issues, and they didn't get to have Christmas for several years. And a matter of fact, like the local church brought presents, and the one present, they brought presents. They brought a present, right? And it was a football. And Brian and his dad threw that football forever. And that turned into playing football in high school. And that turned into playing football in college. And that turned into a professional career, which Melissa still thinks went easy. But he explained, you don't realize my life wasn't that way. He goes, I had to work out. Everything was, even right down to every calorie I digested was counted, and how many hours of work I had to do, and the struggle it took to become a professional athlete. And the time and effort he had to put into that. So she starts to see, okay, that there's some reasons why he didn't just have everything given to him. He had to kind of work through this. And then he starts to learn more about her. He feels that she's kind of a control freak and always wanting everything to be rehearsed and everything to be perfect and stay with the teleprompter and don't go off script and all these kind of things. Well, he finds out that in her past there were times that it didn't work out for her. She worked really hard, tried to position herself to take advantage of some opportunities, and it didn't work out for her. And it was because she felt like she wasn't prepared enough. So she decided she was never going to be in that position, that she wasn't going to get that next job or to get that next promotion. So she made sure to take care of everything and overwork and over-prepare and have it ready. So now you got these two people who are starting to understand each other. And throughout the video, or throughout the movie, there's just a lot of little sweet things that happen. They go to a stocking, arts and crafts and for the best stocking. And they put their wishes on the mistletoe tree in town square. And I don't know about you, I would have a hard time living in that city, because if I saw someone put their wish on that tree, it'd be really hard not to check and see what their wish was, just saying. But anyway, so I guess everybody, honors code, not touch everybody's wishes. Throughout the movie, I think Brian is starting to appreciate, or he does. He's appreciating Melissa more. And there's an old carriage that the people that, what is it, Jay? Yeah, Jay, I can't remember his last name. I loved him in 5 Star Christmas too as the grandfather, but he was kind of the innkeeper. Him and his wife are, and they have a great relationship. And Melissa and Brian are starting to see that relationship as a great relationship. But they have a carriage that is that's in disrepair, and it was an important carriage to them when they were younger. And so Brian decides he's going to fix it up. I have no idea where he had any time to fix that thing up. I just have to suspend belief on that, because they had these people busy, right? They're ice skating. They're doing all these arts and crafts things. They're showing up at all these events throughout town. They're filming their show, dealing with the girlfriend, all of that. And at the same time, he fixes this carriage. But he has this carriage that he's preparing for her. Now, the girlfriend has decided, or has worked it out, so they are going to have a reality show. And it's going to be her and Brian, the life of a actress and a football player, and they are going to have this reality show together, and she is super excited about that. You can tell Brian's not really thrilled about that, but he's like, I know that's what you've wanted. Now, there's a scene, I wanted to see what you guys thought about this. So Melissa met the girlfriend at and I can't remember the girlfriend's name right now to save me, but they were in front of a store, the tree, I think it was a tree, wherever it was. She lets Melissa know that they're going to have this reality show and that her and Brian are going to have this reality show together and it's going to be great. And everybody says it's going to be such a great success, they could see there being 2 seasons. And of course, Melissa's like, oh no, during this period of time, Melissa, right, she has really starting to have feelings for Brian. And her sister the whole time is like, tell him, right? I love the sister. I thought the sister was really good. And of course, Brian is dealing with these emotions that he likes her too. And like, it was funny for me because I didn't like Brian at all when it started. And then about the time they got to the little town, it wasn't far into that. And I'm like, okay, he's kind of a good guy. I didn't know where the movie was going to take us because this mayor shows up and of the town, and he's a nice guy, and he really likes Melissa, and he tries to take her on dates. And I'm like, okay, maybe that's where this story is going. But no, it was pretty quick. We realized, no, this is about Melissa and Brian. So Brian ends up breaking up with the girlfriend, and I thought she took it really well. Actors usually are about drama, so she seemed really grown up and mature about it. So that was kind of, I don't know. I think they could have stood for a little bit of friction there that might have a chance to blow everything up, but that's okay. It worked out okay. But I could have seen a little more tension there, or a little more that she was going to cause so much issues with Melissa and Brian having a chance to be together. Then we have a couple of little areas in there where Brian leaves Melissa a note to meet him out front at 8 o'clock. When she comes out, he's running a little bit late because he's been working on the carriage we talked about earlier. And the mayor walks up, and then the mayor and her end up going off together. So, there's a few little moments here and there where they miss those serendipity kind of moments. But finally, at the end, Brian tracks her down at the hotel or at the bed and breakfast and is going to have the talk with her because they've been missing each other. Now, Jennifer, the producer, knowing that this is all starting to arrange, and she did this on purpose, let's be honest. She knew that the two of them should be together and liked each other, and there was chemistry there. Everybody could see there was chemistry there. And so she kind of set up this whole week just to make sure that they stayed together and didn't make a bad decision. She kept saying I hope you two don't make a decision that you're going to, regret the rest of your lives. Melissa wasn't making a decision. Melissa didn't have a choice. Brian was leaving, so the whole thing was set up that he was leaving. So when they kept saying, I hope you two don't make a bad decision, it was like, no, we hope Brian doesn't make a bad decision because he was making a bad decision. But anyway, so as they're getting ready to have their talk, and they're going to talk about how that confess their love for each other, Jennifer sends out the camera crews to spy on them because they've already been mic'd up for the show, for the Christmas Eve show. So, of course, that whole thing becomes a reality TV show, which I think is funny because the girlfriend was wanting the reality TV show about them, and yet he breaks up with her, and I don't think he really wanted that. And all of a sudden now, this relationship becomes a reality TV show, even for just that moment, because the carriage comes out. Jay, his name, what was his name in the Stan? He played Stan. Comes out driving the carriage, and Brian is in it. It's a beautiful carriage, and Brian wanted to give Melissa that dream Christmas date. I don't think she ever really had that, and she mentioned that earlier in the show. I think when we first opened up seeing their show, that that was one thing she always wished she had, was that really good Christmas date. So he gives that to her, and of course he tells her that he cares for her. She says she cares for him. They're like, they better kiss before the cameras get there. It's already too late. So. Of course, Melissa and Brian end up together in a very sweet show, a very sweet movie. It didn't start off going where I thought it was going to go. I didn't start off liking Brian at all, which I talked about. So I thought it was cool that they transitioned where I'm like, okay, I really like this Brian guy. I felt a little sorry for him, and the mayor kind of kept sliding in there and like, oh man, Brian, just tell her how you feel. And then the girlfriend, they could have ramp that up a little bit. I think they should have ramped that up a little bit, but that's okay. You only have so much time. But I thought they did a really good. I thought it was a really good, sweet movie. And it's a Hallmark movie, and it's sweet and charming. And It's romantic, and it always has that great ending, or most of the time does. And so Good Morning Christmas had that for me. I thought that was a good, sweet movie. I think what I love about these movies, when you watch these movies, is you just get into the spirit of Christmas, and you want to spend time with family, and you want to start doing these events, and I want to go to a stocking creative contest. I want to go make cookies. Like there was a scene where Brian knew that she wasn't able to be at home making cookies, which she loved to do. So he had her sister send all the ingredients, or had the people send all the ingredients, and he worked it out so they got to cook those cookies together. So I'm like, watching movies like this, I wanted to cook cookies. I want to decorate the tree. They decorated the tree together, which is one of the first times he decorated a tree. So I'm like, it's all these little events you do around Christmas, the little traditions that you have for you and your family that make it so special. And of course, for me, the big tradition is watching these Hallmark Christmas movies. So Good Morning Christmas, what did you think about it? Did I miss some stuff? I'm sure I missed some stuff. Like I say, I don't take notes. I just watch, then I talk about it. But I thought it was a sweet, charming, romantic, cute holiday movie. Let me know in the comments, what did you think about it? What would you have changed? Or did you think everything was right? Do you have ideas for a sequel? What should they do with them next year? They all probably could have a sequel. So thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe to the channel. Thanks to you, we're growing every day. And let's keep talking about movies.